Hey everyone, it's Rob Folia and Jessica Klein with Folia Properties at Keller Williams here in Nashville. And we're coming to you live today to talk about investment properties and rental properties and to discuss basically how do you know if something's going to make a great rental property. You ready to jump in, Jessica?
Yeah, this is one of our favorite topics.
Oh, it really is. And honestly, we got inspired to do this video today because we've had a few either clients or potential clients talk with us recently about rental properties. A couple of scenarios. We've got a couple of people either moving here from California or thinking of moving here from California, and they're also thinking about investing their money in rental properties around here. We even have clients that are thinking about basically buying their first home and then renting it out over time. And so all for all the above scenarios and more, we wanted to jump in and talk about rentals. I got inspired to get into rental properties by this book, Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Phenomenal read. If you've never read it, pick it up and check it out. In the book, he talks about how the rich basically get rich by buying assets that will produce more money for them. So basically, passive income. And I mean, I know I'm biased being in the real estate industry, and yet I'm also very passionate about rental properties and passive income from them. So let's dive in. I've already pulled up a property, and let's dive in and go ahead first. Does that sound good, Jessica?
Yeah, cool.
All right, cool. So I pulled up the mortgage rates here in a second, and this is over here on the screen. And the reason why is this is from bankrate.com. It says today's 30-year fixed rate is right around 3%. I just wanted to throw that out as a baseline for us. One of the reasons why is that interest rates are going to play a factor in affordability for all home buyers. So whether you're an owner occupant, whether you are an investor who's going to be financing your next property, rates are important to take into account because especially for investors, if you have a lower interest rate, you're going to keep your payment lower. It just means more profit. And so we'll get more into rates here in a second. This is the property that we're going to spotlight. This is courtesy of Christy with Coldwell Banker. And so this is first day on the market, and honestly, everything's going so quickly around here. It's probably not going to last long. So if you're seeing this video a couple of days after it's recorded, it very well could be under contract. And yet I can find you something else that's like this if you're interested, if all this is clicking. One of the reasons I chose this property to spotlight today is the affordability aspect. It's only
Mhm.
$167,000. It's a 3-bed, 2-bath, which is a very rentable property. 3 beds are very in demand. 2 full baths are needed by a lot of households. And on top of that, you'll see from the front picture here, it's got a garage. A garage will also help you get a little bit of a higher rental rate, which is a great start.
Yeah,
This
and I'd also like to add, just on very surface level here, it looks like it's been well cared for, which means lower overhead from the beginning.
exactly. I mean, it's I haven't gone head first into this property, haven't seen it in person yet, but it looks move-in ready. I mean, yeah, some of the paint's a little bold in one of these rooms. That's no big deal. Looks move-in ready, and I'm a big fan of turnkey properties. I don't want to do a ton of work to a home. Yeah, you could maybe get a cheaper property, do some work to it. There's a trade-off there. This works for me, and I know this works for a lot of our investors as well. Turnkey, I'm a fan of, like I said.
Mhm.
So when analyzing a property, there's a couple of things, and in fact, we've got a really I know spoiler alert on a couple of these values, but we've got a just a really bare bones investment property analyzer pulled up based on property value. Excuse me, you have property price, rental value, 1% rule, an estimated payment, and what the profit will be after the debt service. Property price, I just pulled up. I've put in the market the asking price. You know, maybe you can get a deal on it, maybe you can't. Maybe it goes above that if there's multiple offers. It doesn't matter to me if it goes above it if it's still a good value and it's still going to cash flow and it still makes sense. Um, the rental value, very surface level analysis. This is straight from rentometer.com. It's a free service. Yeah, they've got a pro service too. It's a good service though to start to get a very baseline analysis of what rental property, what a property might bring in for rent. Basically, you just plug in the address, put in how many beds it is, and it's going to give you it's going to say, as you can see on here, what the average, what the median is, what the high end is too. So if you do a lot of work to a property, it's worth checking out if you're an investor or if you're looking to get into investing. It's definitely worth checking out. And then the last thing before we go back to the investment analyzer, well, no, here we'll jump to that at the end, the mortgage calculator. But the investment analyzer. So as we just said, property price, rental value. doesn't hit the 1% rule. I know I've rambled and had too much coffee already, Jessica. Do you want to explain the 1% rule?
Well, the 1% rule is pretty simple. If you take, it's 1%, you have to basically make 1%. Well, you know what? You're probably the better person to explain this.
Oh,
I
you're
might
good.
ramble a little more than you do.
Oh, you're good. I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No, that's okay.
All it is that you want to see the rental value here equal, hopefully equal or exceed 1% of the property price. Now that's getting harder and harder to find in Middle Tennessee and in general, really. Yeah, there might be some smaller markets around the country where you can find them. Maybe some even smaller areas in Middle Tennessee that are further out. At the same time, though, it's getting harder and harder to find. So rental value, if it is 1,300, and we're just using that round number from Rent-A-Meter, the property price 167.5, does that hit 1%? No, it doesn't, because for it to hit 1%, this number would have had to be either 130,000 or this would have had to be 1675. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad investment. It just means, hey, this might be something to keep your eyes on. Is it gonna be as profitable as you'd like it to be? I think that's what matters most. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's important. I mean, we touched on criteria at the beginning. Every investor is different. Some people are looking for just any profit, and that's good enough for them. And some people are looking for a certain percentage or a certain dollar amount. So it really depends on your criteria there.
I'm glad you said that, Jessica, because I skipped over that. And you're absolutely right. I pulled this up because I like this from a single family criteria standpoint. Y'all heard me say at the beginning, 3 beds, 2 baths. I like that. It's a very rentable home. I like the fact it has a garage, probably because you can charge more. In fact, we might be able to get higher than 1,300 a month for rent. Again, this is just a very bare bones surface level analysis. And yet that's why I like it. It fits my criteria. I also like smaller multifamily homes like duplexes, triplexes, things like that. Um, However, anyway, that's my criteria. If it's your criteria, think about, is this is this okay? Do you have to have the 1% rule? If so, you might be waiting a while based on the way the market's going right now. For me, I just want to see it profitable and hopefully profitable by a few $100s. And in fact, we'll get into that right now. You see here, estimated PITI. PITI is just an abbreviation for principal, interest, taxes, and insurance for your mortgage payment. That's all that is. And we got that straight from the mortgage calculator on our website. So if you're looking for a great mortgage calculator, head to foliaproperties.com. At the top right behind our faces on the screen here, but the top right where it says Folia Properties, click the drop down, take you to mortgage calculator, and you can see exactly what I'm looking at right here. Plug in your home value. So I plugged in the listing price, 167.5. Plug in your down payment, 20% down. You're going to need at least 15% down for an investment property. If it's a single family, at least 20% if it's a multifamily. I like 20% if possible because it gets out of the PMI, especially with how low rates are today. Because you're probably not going to want to refinance that rental property if you've got it at you see on the screen here, at a 4% rate. You're probably not going to want to refinance it later on. And so it might be, to me, it might be smart. Weigh the pros and the cons, though. But anyway, with 20% down, this is your loan amount, as you can see on the screen. In fact, let me see. I'll zoom in, make it big for everybody. You can see the 134 is your loan amount. Now you'll see 4% on here as the interest rate. What did I say at the beginning, Jessica? Right at 3%, right?
Right. And there have been a couple times where we've been a little bit conservative with our estimates here. And I mean, that's the way that I would go. Absolutely. So a little bit higher interest rate. Don't go for the highest rental amount that you're anticipating. Do these with very safe numbers.
Absolutely. Well, and one of the reasons we plugged in 4 instead of 3 is because it's a rental property. Lenders typically charge around 1% higher for the mortgage rate. Doesn't mean that that's going to be the number. We're not a lender. We can't pre-approve you and give you a rate amount. That's just a rough estimate based on what we're seeing in the market today. The rest of this is all pretty straightforward. What's the property tax? You plug it in. Loan term, 30 years. PMI, that's 0 because we're putting 20% down. Estimated home insurance of $1,000 a year. It may even be a little bit less. That just helps our bottom line if that's the case. And you can see right here's our estimated monthly payment, the $831.57. So if we jump back to our investment analyzer, you'll see the profit after the debt service is almost $470 based on this. Yes, it takes money to get into rental properties. Obviously, I jumped past putting 20% down. I get it. You've got to have a down payment to buy a rental. And yet, if you're looking at rental properties and investment properties as a long-term, place to put your money and then also see money coming in every single month, this is a great, in my opinion, it's a great way to get started. And this would be, if Kelly and I are in the middle of looking for our next rental property. If I'm not planning on checking this one out because it's probably going to be gone in a day, like we said, but this would be something that I would be getting out there to check out if I didn't have some appointments already set for tomorrow. So, what questions do you have about what I just went a mile a minute on, and what questions are on Facebook, Jessica?
I do not see any questions on Facebook. I'd like to just add one thing. I know we mentioned PMI a couple times. That's mortgage insurance, and we could tell you more about that if you'd like. You can give us a call at 571, sorry, not 571, 615 591 5665. And basically, like, this was a very basic, a standard analysis of a property, and there are so many different versions of this. There are house hacking. There's all kinds of stuff that can help you get to a different goal or can help you get in with different assets. And if you're interested in any of this, just reach out to us anytime.
Absolutely, reach out to us directly if you've got a question. Real quick, I'll just touch on it, like you said a second ago, Jessica. PMI. If you're thinking here, hey, I don't want to put 20% down. Rob said something about 15% on a single family home. I just want to show you all real quick. What was the down payment? It was 33.5 on with 20% down, 15%, 25,000. So almost basically over an $8,000 difference in a down payment. You've got to start weighing the pros and the cons, and that's how smart investors look at it. And they're going to say, all right, well, that's an $8,000 difference. Only a lender is going to be able to quote you on PMI. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if on this loan amount and because it's a relatively smaller loan, if you've got excellent credit, if this was no more than $30 or $50 a month. And so, I mean, if it's even $50 a month for easy math with an $8,000 difference in down payment, that might make sense to only put 15% down, have a higher PMI. I mean, I don't know what that would be as a percentage if we want an actual number. I mean, just say it's 0.3%. And you're looking at $900. You're still profitable $400 a month, and and you've kept more money in your pocket. So just something to throw out there as another possibility. And yeah, if you've got a question or if what I just said kind of made sense and didn't make sense, reach out. We're here to help. Like Jessica said, 615-591-5665, info@folioproperties.com. Comment on this video. We're happy to answer any comments and here to help in any way we can. We want to help you grow your wealth with real estate. So,
thanks, everybody.
Awesome. Thanks, y'all. Until next time. See you.